Okay, let's start this lecture, continue with where we left from previous. So we finished, yes, each one data warehouse for many databases. Yes, there is one data warehouse for maybe only one database, maybe for 10 databases, and we will see that there are other things than the database that will be clear, inshallah. Okay. So data warehouse architecture. You know about architecture, how the things are connected with one another. Okay. In general, we say that data warehouses have a three-tier architecture. Three-tier: bottom tier, middle tier, and top tier. What is a tier? A tier is one level or one layer. Okay. What is called this layer? What is called? Well, I don't know. Matbaq, I don't know exactly what it is called, but there are tiers. Okay, so tabaqa. Okay, yes, tabaqa. So tabaqat, there are three tiers. The bottom tier, what is that? It consists of a data warehouse server. It is usually a relational database system which collects, cleanses, and transforms data from multiple data sources through a process known as ETL, extract, transform, load, or a process known as ELT, extract, load, transform. Okay, so what do we get about bottom tier? That it is the main data warehouse server which contains the store. This store is in the form of relational database system, and this store is not only a database, but because of a server, it collects the data, it cleanses the data, okay, cleans, and transforms the data, because you may get data from multiple data sources, and we will see the examples of what is multiple data sources. Okay, then we have two types of processes. One is known as ETL, and the other one is known as ELT. The difference between them is whether we do the transform first and then load, or we do the load first and then transform. It depends, okay, on different situations. But extract, load, and transform, these are three different steps in the cleaning process or the transformation process. So one tier is the main, it does all the main thing of data conversion and data storage. Then the middle tier consists of an OLAP, online analytical processing server. This is another server which enables fast query speeds. So the first tier about storage, the second one about querying, okay, and analysis. And the third one is about, the top tier is about a front-end user interface or reporting tool, which enables the end users to conduct ad hoc data analysis on their business data. Okay, so the top tier is the one in which normal user will connect with the middle tier, and the middle tier will get the data from the bottom tier. So the bottom tier is where the data is, okay, after cleaning, etc. The middle tier is used to actually, make analysis on the data, and then the top tier gets the data from the middle tier and present it in different views. Why do we have three tiers? Because it means that in top tier, you can change the applications. You can have one type of application with the middle tier, or you can connect another type of application. So it is independent. Whatever is done in the middle tier, you can have a top tier, which is different, which is a different application, which is a different graphics thing, etc. So in this way, you are not dependent on a single type of application. Similarly, bottom tier, you can change the server, etc., without changing the middle or the top tiers. Now, this is just one example. What you see here is on the left side, you have different databases, which are generally the operational systems. These are databases. And then also flat files, for example. Okay, so these are different data sources. These pass through the ETL, okay, extraction, transformation, and loading process. Then there is the this data warehouse in the middle, which is the server. We see that the server gets the data from different sources on the left and into the, wait, let me enable this laser pointer. So different sources, after ETL process or ELT process, it goes into the data warehouse server. This server actually organizes the data in different ways. So this is the raw data, which is the pure data. Then there's the metadata. What is metadata? It describes the raw data. or it describes the summary data or the overall data warehouse. For example, metadata contains information that what is the type of age, what is the type of gender, what is the type of address, for example, what is the length of address. If you remember, when in the SQL we define a database, so we say that varchar, okay, and varchar 20 or integer, for example, or boolean, whatever. This is the metadata. And summary data is what we get from the raw data. Okay, so we will do some initial analysis on the server and make the data available, because otherwise, if you ask every time for a summary data, it may take time. Okay, raw data is so huge that getting summary data may take several minutes. So that's why from time to time you prepare the summary data, and then you have the analysis, okay, or the reporting or the data mining. Now this you can see it can be of different things. Now this is not exactly in the 3-tier architecture, because in this way, this is our 1 tier, okay, which contains the server as well. So this complete is 1 tier. From sources to the server, this whole is 1 tier, which was the first tier. Which tier? This was known as the bottom tier, okay. Then we said in the middle, that was the analysis tier or the middle tier, and then we have also this can be in the middle tier, and then this was the final front end user. So it's slightly different, but the basic concept is the same. That once you have data store and integration, the other one is the data analysis or summarization, etc. And the third one is reporting from the user's point of view. Okay. Dictionary, you said, Siham. What do you mean by dictionary? Okay, metadata. Yes. Okay, the metadata dictionary. What it means, it describes the data. Okay, good. So metadata is the dictionary because it describes the data, what is in the data. And this term will come again. Inshallah, we will discuss that. Okay, now we talk about data warehousing and business intelligence. As I told you in the beginning, that the term data warehouse, it was there in 1992, 93, somewhere. In the IBM, there was a researcher who had defined this term, and then for almost 20 years, until 2012, 2013, people used to have the term data warehouse. But then they changed this term, and there were new terms. One of the new terms is business intelligence. Why people like business intelligence? Because this seems like a more catchy, more modern term, okay? Something which is more attractive. Data warehousing is more a passive term, you know? So if I'm going to change this course title, maybe I can make it like data warehousing and business intelligence, okay? Or data science and business intelligence, something like this. But business intelligence is more like application. Data warehousing is more like theoretical concept. So when we talk about business intelligence, you can think of application of data warehousing in the business, okay, for business intelligence. So what is business intelligence? We say that data warehousing supports business intelligence, or business intelligence depends on data warehousing, okay? Now, what is business intelligence? Business intelligence is the process that adds value to your business process through monitoring performance indicators. That's very important thing, performance indicator. Okay, so we monitor performance indicators about business environment and their impact on business strategy to help what? To help in define, refine, and improve business model for profitable operations. So the 3 terms which I have identified in blue, they are very important to understand. Okay, so business intelligence is a process which gives value, which means importance to your business processes. Okay, and how do we do that? We have performance indicators. And finally, we do this for profitable operations. So can anyone tell me, give me an example of performance indicator for any business? Yes, any example of performance indicators? What do you think? Just think about, if you have not heard this term before, think an indicator as, let's say, ishara, performance. Okay, so what is a performance indicator from any business? You can see for a government, for example, What is the major performance indicator in general when we compare the performance of different governments? Okay, how do you compare the performance of different universities? How do you indicate the performance of different students, for example? This is the simplest example. For you, what is the performance indicator? Let's say for me, I will have a performance indicator for you people. You have X. What is X? Exports. Okay. Yes.
Example. I have example.
Yes, I have. Okay. Yes.
Yes. We study in queuing system that performance indicators that how what the time the whole time that customers spend it in the queuing, and what that spend time for taking the service. All of this is performing indicator.
Good, good. Thank you. Yes, I will come to your point. Seham, thank you. Nujud says exports. Okay, Nujud, what example of exports are performance indicator? Like, for example, okay. Anyone else? Nujud, you are right, but I want you to give me more explanation. For example, how are exports performance indicator? What does that mean for a country? Okay. Any other performance indicators for government? Asma is still not here, I think. Okay, and Asrar, do you have any example? And where is the fifth one has gone? Okay, so Najul, Siham, Asrar, Asma. What about, okay, yes. Okay, you think. Okay, so let me give an example. Performance indicator from a student point of view. Your performance indicators are your quizzes, assignments, and exams. That tells me about your performance, and that tells you also about your performance. Are you performing good or not? That is a performance indicator. So your marks in the quiz and your exams and your assignments, that are performance indicators. From a university point of view, the performance indicator is how many good teachers are there, how many students are there, how many colleges are there, okay, how many students get a pass and degree, and how many students get good jobs actually. Okay, so maybe there is a very big university with thousands of students, but out of these thousands, maybe very few get good jobs, which means that the university is not performing well, maybe. Okay, or it may not be performing well because maybe the university is in area in which there are no jobs, for example. So that's also part. Maybe a campus in Turba or Khorma, etc. We cannot say that their students will get the same opportunities as a campus in Jeddah or Riyadh, for example. So anyways, we have different performance indicators. Exports, as said by Najud, is one indicator, which means that a government which exports more is performing good. So there is a competition of oil export, for example. So if one country is exporting more oil, that may be earning more, because export means there is more profitable operation. Okay, more profits. So more profits is because of this performance. Similarly, performance indicators in healthcare. Like this is a performance indicator, how many people have been vaccinated. A population, let's say a country in which only 20% people are vaccinated is not having good performance indicator as compared to a country which has 80% population and vaccinated double dose or booster dose as well. So these are different indicators or different variables that tell you how something works. So given the example of Siham, this is also a very good example, a performance indicator of a queuing system. Okay, so in queuing system, there are different types of variables. For example, one is the wait time. Okay, the wait time is the time you wait in a queue to have your number. So let's compare different malls. Okay, Panda and Bin Dawood and I don't know, Raya and something in Jorimal and this Danube, etc. So they have different counters. Okay, and you may know that some malls or some shops, their counter may be going very good because their staff is very experienced. Okay, yeah, revenue is good indicator. I will come. So experience staff, they will you will not have to wait for a long time because they are processing very quickly. So the long time is not just dependent upon the experience of the person. It depends on how many check counters you have. So if there is one shop which has 5 counters, so people will be actually placed in different queues, it will be processing fast. But if there is only one counter, so you will see that the wait will be very big because there is only one server, or the server means the person or the cashier who is serving that. So that is the wait time. The other one, then experience of the person. If the cash counter person is very quick and taking your items very quickly and calculating your money, etc., very quickly, and payment is gone very quickly, so that is a good performance indicator. So organizations can use the shops, they can use because they have the data that which person was working at which time and what was his performance, for example. So they can train the person or they can replace the person. Yes, the quality, that's another thing. I told you the example of doctor in Markaz Sahi. So when you take an appointment through Muaid, the appointment is done, they will ask you a question that how was your experience with this doctor? Would you recommend this doctor to your friend or family members? Okay, so those things, they are performance indicators of a person, of Markaz Sahi, or the whole healthcare system. Okay, you talked about revenue. Of course, revenue is the biggest performance, and that is the profitable operations. Okay, profitable operations, when you have more munafa, when you have more money coming in because of the other indicators. So your profit will depend on different performance indicators. Okay, in healthcare services, your profit is that you have less people which are let's say unhealthy. So more people healthy means you have a good system. Okay, so a hospital which can treat people in only one appointment very quickly, it means that the doctors are very good performance indicator. But if there's a hospital in which patients are coming again and again because of not so good treatment, okay, then this is something. Performance in the work, yes, in the work, a teacher, like for example, performance indicator for me is how good I teach course and you people evaluate me, or for example, how many research papers I can produce or publish, how many different courses can I teach. So this is from teacher's point of view, how many advising sessions and how many tutorials, how many homework assignments I give, all those count toward different performance indicators, and we should know them. Okay, so business intelligence, if I can sum up, you want to increase your profit, you want to increase the value of your business, for which you define some performance indicator, and actually you monitor those things using business intelligence. And how do you use business intelligence? Because behind the business intelligence is data warehousing. It is data warehousing which tells you how your indicator is working. Okay, so what business intelligence means is that ability to run simple queries, ability to perform what if analysis in different ways. What if analysis? What is the what if analysis? It means that what will happen if I do this? For example, let's say the government decides that anyone who has no booster shot cannot enter hospital or cannot enter malls. Okay, just wait, I will see. So let's say, what if if government decides that tomorrow no one can enter? Now this decision will be very bad decision if there is only maybe 1% of population who have done the booster shot. The government will give a date. So for example, in December, they said that after 1st of February, if you have done more than 8 months of booster shot, you will not be able to enter the government place because your tawakkalna status will not be that. So they give you 1 month to think and to take a booster shot if you have not taken that. So that will give you enough time. The government gets this data from its own data warehouse, and using business intelligence, it finds what to do. Okay, its ability to interactively analyze results. So the results are changing. So for example, this is interesting situation is about coronavirus. Daily we get the reports and interactive reports. You can search for different countries. So there is the COVID-19 visualizer, I think, or COVID visualizer, one website, and there are hundreds of websites which tell you about the daily or the hourly update of COVID worldwide. Okay, finally, ability to discover trends and apply them to future results. Okay, different types of shopping trends, different types of health trends. For example, flu, even COVID-19 trend, it was a trend. Okay, they identified using data warehousing and business intelligence that what can spread COVID and what can prevent COVID. So they talk about masks. Then there was a curfew, the lockdown, nobody was going outside and so on. Then, so Seham says, tell us about weakness. What type of weakness? Yes, what things we need to improve? What things, that's what we said in the first line, adds value. How do you add value? And by removing the weakness which you have. So for example, for booster shot, let's say the weakness will be if only 1% population has done booster shot and they will see that this is a weakness, we need to have at least 50% booster shot in 1 month or in 2 months. So they will work on that. What you put offers for 1 month for customer? Yes, this is exactly the example of booster shot. Okay, offer for, they give you 1 month to take the booster shot. Otherwise, you will not be allowed to enter into government organizations or many shopping malls, etc. So giving you this 1 month depends on government's capacity. So if there are not many vaccine centers, okay, and you ask everyone to get shot in 1 month, so of course they cannot do that. So the government has to decide how many vaccine centers for how long will we need. So maybe at some point in time, they had 24-hour vaccine service. Then they had 15-hour vaccine service. Now maybe they had mostly 8 hours vaccine service from 8 in the morning to 4 in the evening. After that, they will stop. They will not give you any appointment, for example. So all these things, they do these analysis through queries and business intelligence. So business intelligence is very, very important point, and we will keep discussing that in this course. Okay, so there is you see one example diagram clarity. So what do you see? Business intelligence in this center, it has two main aspects: the technologies and the strategies. The strategies, as I explained before, what you need to do. Okay, and the technologies, what type of techniques can you apply? So there are mainly 4 things: descriptive analytics, prescriptive analytics, predictive analytics, and then reporting. So reporting is general concept, but the analytics, these 3 things, they are very interesting, and you will learn about them maybe in data mining or maybe in some other course in detail. Okay, so what is descriptive analytics? This is a type of analysis which gives you insight into past events, what has happened. Okay, so you analyze past year data. For example, for COVID-19, you have data of now almost 2 years, because from 2019 end or about 2020 beginning, we are now into 2022 beginning. So it is 2 years, and we have all the data. And now scientists know, like for example, from the past 2 years in 2021 and 2020, they know that the COVID becomes high in winters. So January, February, March, the COVID is high. Then starting April, it reduces. May, June, in the June, this is low. Okay, in the summer. In July, it is very low, so there are very few cases. Then starting from August, September, it is increasing again, something like this. So they have a trend of graph that this flu or this COVID-19 virus, it is more in December, January, and then it decreases with the passage of time. And this is what we saw. In January, there was Omicron. In December end, there was Omicron, and it has created, again, a very disruptive situation. So from past, we learn about events. Prescriptive analytics, which are the actionable decision analysis. Which actions should we be taking? Okay, what should we do? Prescribe means to describe, like the doctor prescribes medicines to you. Okay, this wasfa. So this is the wasfa. What decision has been taken, should be taken. And the predictive analytics is forecasting the future outcomes. So the predictive analytics is telling you that if you don't wear masks, for example, or if you don't take booster shots, then within 1 month, the the prediction for COVID-19 will be like this. Within 2 months, it will be like this. And if you take vaccine and people wear masks, then the situation will be different. So these are the predictive analytics. So again, descriptive is what we learned from the past. Prescriptive, what should be done. For example, we should wear masks and we should have booster shots. That's the prescriptive. Predictive, what will happen if we do this, or what will happen if we do that. Okay, in case of booster shots, what will happen? How will we control? In case no booster shot, what will happen? In case the booster shot is only for older people, what will happen? How many people may die? How many people may be prevented? And things like these, we do these analysis using data warehousing and machine learning. And reporting is general reporting. They will give you different reports of how the situation is going. Okay, whether it's prescriptive, or predictive, they will just give you some graphs and you have to follow them. So on the left side, we have the technologies. On the right side, there are strategies. Okay, strategies, what actions do you take? So there are data from the operational information, daily basis, product positioning. Okay, how do you position your product? Which product should you promote in which days, for example? Okay, how should you make pricing? So about operational, you get the product positioning and pricing. And the second type of strategy is about tactical strategy. Tactical strategy means you set the goals. Okay, like for example, you want to sell these things. The tactical strategy for about the corona vaccine is that, let's say, for Saudi Arabia was that by the end of 2021, let's say 85% of population should be vaccinated, fully vaccinated. Okay, so that was a goal, tactical goal. And then they set priorities. Priorities is that the older people should get vaccinated first, followed by those who are more than 40, and at the end there will be children, for example. The directions, how to do that. So they will create centers, and in those centers, the aged citizen, which we call the senior citizen, more than 60 plus, they don't need appointment. They can just directly go without appointment. So that is the priority, and the direction is they will do without appointment. Otherwise, if you are less than 60, you will take an appointment. If you are diabetic, etc., you will have more priority. Okay, so all those things. Finally, at the end, we have internal and external data. Okay, we have two types of data. The internal data is from within, external data that you collect from social media or from outside. Okay, so using the internal and external data combination, you have those strategies and you use those technologies to make intelligent decisions, and that is the business intelligence. So I hope that this slide gives you an overall idea. Now, if you see here, there is no discussion of data warehouse. So where is data warehouse in this slide? Yes, I repeat. Technically, okay, you mean the technologies, they are data warehouse, but do you see any data here on the left side? What we discussed about the 3 tiers of data warehouse, do you remember? There was the bottom tier, which was the server and the data. The server was collecting the data. Then was the middle tier, okay, which had the analytics capability, generating summaries, etc. And then there was the front end, or the what are the top tier, in which you had the results. Okay, so what we can see is the left side is more like what you have a combination. So reporting is the results. It also has a result as well as the middle tier, which means that analysis. Okay, and the data itself at this layer, this is the data warehouse. Okay, so business intelligence is using those data warehousing tools to make these decisions. Okay, so these decision and strategy are made using all those things here, okay, down and middle, from the data warehouse to support in this decision making. Now the right side, the goals, the tactical, the pricing, all those things, they are purely business, which means that depends from business to business. For healthcare, goals will be different. For e-commerce, the goals will be different. Okay, for education, the goals will be different. For education, the goal will be, let's say, that that every child should be going to school, which means that there will be schools in every possible area. There will be school in, Moya, Jadid, and in the Sahara, wherever it's possible, the government will have even a small school which can afford even 50 students, but they will make a school so that this is a priority that every child should be educated, and so on. So business intelligence, and we will see some case studies example of business intelligence, inshallah, later in this course. Okay, now I have been using the strategy and tactics. If you see here, we say the tactical, and these are the strategy. Okay, so what does that mean? The strategy is the direction towards the goal. Okay, you have some goal. Which direction do you take to achieve the goal? And tactics are the action taken to support the strategy. So first you define a goal, then you define a strategy to achieve the goal, and the strategy results in some actions to do. For example, the goal here, if you see here, is that we want to have our product in the top product of, let's say, Halib. One company's Halib should be the top one. Okay, what should be the strategy? The strategy should be that your Halib should be available in every part of the country. Okay, that's your strategy, that make it available and make it available to advertisement so that the people know this. The actions or the tactics are, how do you make people know this? So you will have advertisements on TV, on social media. You see in YouTube these days, there is a competition between a Safi. So there is the new brand of Safi Halibs and Safi, you know, this, what is they call? Yogurt, okay. Rube or what is yogurt? I forgot the name for yogurt, okay. Okay, anyways, so Safi, then there is, you know, Al Marai and Nadik. They all are competing to prioritize their products. So they have the tactics as to use social media, use YouTube, and use other advertisement channel to introduce their new products or design to the people so that the people buy it. So they changing design. Asafi, they changed their cover. Al-Mara'i, they changed their cover a couple of years ago. Like before, it was a different thing. Now it's different. And similarly, the other, you know, competing companies, they are going to use some tactics to support their strategy of achieving their goal. So simply put, strategy refers to the plan to achieve a goal, while the tactic is how you execute the plan. Okay, so you have a plan, how do you get more customers, and then you have a tactic of executing your plan. Okay, these are some business terms. Normally we don't use it, but because it was there in the slide, so it's important to understand these difference. So when creating your marketing plan, okay, so marketing has a plan. You want to market your product, you want to the people to know about your product. So strategic marketing comes first, because it deals with the direction of your business growth in relation to your competitors. Okay, so direction means that you want the growth of your product and you need marketing. It's a long-term goal that is broad. Then comes the tactical planning, which consists of actual processes involved in improving your competitive position. Actual process is what? Okay, like you pay money on YouTube, you pay money on Facebook, etc. So that will be the tactical way of achieving your goal. One more thing that we care about is the term data governance. Okay, what is data governance? This is a term that will come in different places. So that's why the definition I put it here. It is a collection of processes, roles, policies, standards, and metrics that ensure the effective and efficient use of information in enabling an organization to achieve its goal. Now, if we talk about the government policy, let's say we talk about, you know, Tawakkalna and COVID-19 vaccines. So what do you think will be the data governance on that? Yes. Okay, so مراقبة الحالة الصحية. Okay, so how do we do this مراقبة? Data governance, for example, we say that this is a collection of processes. What are the processes? What are the roles? Then what are the policies? What are the standards? And what are the metrics? Metrics means how do you measure something? Which thing you use to measure? So a simple metric is, for example, the number of doses by how many people. So let's say 80% population is fully vaccinated, which means 2 doses. This is a metric. Let's say 90% population has done 1 dose, let's say. Okay, so things like these, they are the metrics with which you measure something. So if you talk about this Maraqaba al-Hala al-Sahiyya, let's say, so what is the process? The process is for an ordinary citizen that you book your appointment, okay, through some app, whether Sahati or whether Tawakkalna, and then on your appointment date and time, you go there. They will record your things. They will take your ID. They will confirm. They will vaccinate you. They will update the system, and then you will get the certificate in your Tawakkalna or Sahat. That's the process. Okay, this process is from the user's point of view. There is a process from the government point of view or the hospital's point of view that you need to distribute the vaccines. Okay. Yes, this is also interesting. What about? Okay, good, Tahani. This is a good example. About. So we want to see that maybe there is a person near you, what you should do. Okay, so for that person who has COVID, he or she should be quarantined. The persons who are near that person, if they have any symptoms, they should also take the PCR test, and maybe they need to start the treatment or not. So there are things. The roles are what? There are medical roles. Okay, there are roles of doctors. There are roles of the staff who inject. There are roles of the people who enter the data. There are roles of the people who make lines, who make the serra and those tabura or whatever it's called. So there are different roles. Policies. The policy is that, for example, the government says that nobody is going to be entered to, the university without 2 doses. And then there is time. Excellent, Asma. Yes, there is time that you may have at least 3 months or something like that. So for, I think in the beginning for Pfizer, it was how many 3 weeks. Okay, in the beginning it was like that you cannot take a Pfizer before 3 weeks, and you should not take it more than 2 months later. For this one, the AstraZeneca, it was 2 months, I think. For Moderna, it was also 3 months, something like this. Okay, so it's not that you need you take a vaccine today and tomorrow you say, okay, I'm going to do the second one also. No. Okay, there is some standard time. Also, for travel requirement, usually when you travel and a country's requirement is that you should be vaccinated, it means that you should have passed 14 days, at least 14 days after vaccine, then you can travel. Okay, because one of my brothers, he was traveling to USA and he had vaccine, and just after 2 days he traveled. But when we arrived at the airport, they stopped him. They said, no, you have not taken fully 14 days, so he had to go back. Okay, so these are the policies. Standards. There are standards. Example of standards is that you have to accept only vaccine of some type, not every possible vaccine. Okay, and the standard is that let's say you have to wait for these many days before taking second vaccine, and so on. So there are different standards you have to follow. Metrics, as I said, the measurement that ensure the effective and efficient use of information. Effective means, yes, if you have 2 doses, that is effective against protection against COVID, and efficient means it's quick. Okay, information. So as soon as you take a dose on the same day or maybe the next day, your Tawakkalna is updated. So you don't need to worry about update status of Tawakkalna. So this is data governance. The data governance defines that it should not be the case that a person takes a vaccine and then you don't update his information, because he may be in need of traveling or he may be in need of going to the university, and if the second dose is not updated, then he or she will have a trouble. For example, if she cannot appear for exam, her future will be destroyed. So this will be very efficient, very quick thing. Okay, an organization to achieve its goals. So the goals of the Ministry of Health was to that 100% COVID-19 vaccine is done by everyone in the the country. Data governance defines who can take what actions. So what doctors should be doing, what a normal person should be doing, who can take appointment, who cannot take appointment, for example. Okay, upon what data? Like even if, let's say, you want to take appointment now from Taif, you can take appointment maybe up to Gia, up to Makkah, but I don't think you can see appointment in Jeddah. You cannot see appointment in your Tawakkalna or Sehati in Riyadh. And the Riyadh people, they cannot see the appointment center in Taif. Okay, last time I saw, so up till Misan, for example, okay, or maybe until Al-Baha, for example, the centers are available to me for appointment. But beyond that, they know that I cannot travel 4 hours for vaccine. it should be within 1 hour, for example, if I need it urgently. So here King Faisal Hospital and Mustashfa Malik Abdul Aziz or Markaz Sahih, Wastal Medina, etc., they are full, there is no space there. So if I need it, maybe I can get a vaccine at Misan. Okay, so it's possible because I need it. So these are the things, who can take what actions upon what data, okay, in what situations. Okay, so you can only book if the second one, if you have done the first one. Okay, and you cannot book anyone, let's say, if you have done 2 doses, so that's full. So the situation is clear, what methods, it's clear, through which applications, for example. Okay, then data governance, it establishes the processes and responsibilities that ensure the quality and security of the data used across a business or organization. So you see that without Tawakkalna, you cannot go directly and ask for, a vaccine and without entering into the system. No, it's illegal. So there is responsibility of the person who vaccinates, that he will check your status. Has he already been registered? Once you enter the center, you cannot go out without vaccine, because this will destroy their computer system record. So they need to be very, very careful that whatever person, whoever is, who enters the center, whose information is collected, once he's eligible for vaccine, even if you have to wait 1 hour, you will wait 1 hour. Okay, but you cannot go out. If you go out, they will tell you no, and you will have a problem, and you have to fight with them that I will go, and they have to cancel it, something like that. It's very difficult. So the quality of the process and the security of the data, because many people, they don't want the vaccine, so they would like that, okay, I try to escape the vaccine. And there are cases when people fake the vaccine, okay? And there are cases when someone else takes the vaccine. There was a person in, I think, USA or Australia, I don't know, who took 6 vaccine doses. He was a crazy person. So he used some methods, someone else's ID, he would go with someone else's ID and take a vaccine, and after 2 days or maybe 1 week, he would go again with another vaccine, and this way he had 6. Okay, so people like these exist. You don't know why do they do. Either they are too much cautious, they are afraid, or maybe they just want to make fun of the government, but there are people like that. Okay, so it ensures, data governance ensures that rows related to data are clearly defined. Okay, who can insert the data? Okay, not everyone can change the data, not everyone can add the data, and that responsibility and accountability are agreed upon across enterprise. Okay, so only specific people can enter the data. Even if you are a doctor, you are giving the vaccine, but you cannot enter the data for the person. There is a data entry operator, DEO, okay, who enters the data and who will, give you a paper. That paper you will show, and then in the vaccine where they are vaccinating, one person will vaccine you, the other person will enter your data, and he will tick, or she will tick, that yes, she has been vaccinated. So they will work closely together and only make sure that the person has been vaccinated. Okay, a well-planned data governance framework covers strategic, tactical, and operational roles and responsibilities. Now that's important thing. We talked about strategy and tactics, and we know about operational roles. Operational roles are the roles of different people in daily operations. So all these things are covered by the data governance framework. So a good data governance, understand now, this was a good example of Tawakkalna and Sehati and COVID-19, in which we cover all those aspects. Okay, if you see the first line once again, that how do we define the processes? What are the roles? What are the policies, the standard, the metrics? So these are covered by the data metrics and a good, data governance, and a good data governance framework. It will cover the strategy. What are the goals? Okay, how do you achieve your goals? And the tactics, how will you execute actions? And on daily basis, the operational roles and responsibility of different people. Okay. Okay, so I think, yeah, we will just stop off this slide. Okay, business intelligence and data warehouse is another one. What you see here, we will talk about data center sometime. What is a data center? In simple, it's just a place where you store the data. These are the servers, okay? But overall, how does data move in a business intelligence and data warehouse system? So there is the master data, which means the main data, and this can be from different sources. It is stored in the data warehouse. Okay, you can see from different data sources through the process of ETL. Then you define the business rules, how things should work. Okay, the business rules about this data. We will discuss about data marts maybe in the next lecture, okay, or after that, what are data marts. Then from these data marts, we have business intelligence tools, okay, which is the business intelligence. Then there are developers and assemblers who use these tools to generate the reports or the dashboards, and these are being used by the users. Okay, so overall, all this thing is stored in a data center. So a data center is the main thing which is a repository of all things. So data center contains all the software, the hardware, and other tools about the generators, about the backup, about the electricity, about the solar system, about the cooling system. All are part of the data center, which makes sure that all these operations from one end to the other end, they are met and the users can get their data quickly. So I will stop here and I will ask you if you have any questions